I get it.
Enterprise Development Week. Thank you so much for being here.
Nah, I can put it on the thing. I was just laying them down.
With 17 events, if you could believe it, all geared towards highlighting, celebrating, and strengthening the minority enterprise ecosystem, of which you are all a part of. Just for being here today, whether you are an entrepreneur or someone who supports entrepreneurs, you are part of that ecosystem, and we hope you'll stay in touch with us throughout Med Week and for the rest of the year until next Med Week. We'd love to have you all join us again by filling out our check-in sheet and even filling out a feedback form before you head out. And newly added to our website as of last night is a committee interest form. So on the homepage, if you're interested in being part of the committee for next year, the folks who get to wear the fun purple shirts, courtesy of Makiba Designs, you can just fill it out and we'll be in touch when it is time to have new committee members. If you have any questions about Med Week or what it stands for or how to get more involved, please see me or anyone in a purple shirt and we'll be able to help you. And without further ado, I will pass it on to Steffi.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Welcome everyone. Thank you for taking the time to be here. I hope you're enjoying the lunch. We are having an exciting panel today. I mean, we are going to have some panelists that were involved in the Minority Supplier Program. I see some familiar faces, in fact, that were part of that program. So when we come to that point that we'll bring not only questions, but we also want to know their feedback and everything that they were able to learn and just, their experiences. We want to know from them, but let's start with the panels here. The panelists, if you guys can introduce yourselves real quick.
Okay, so I'm Kellye Johnson. I'm the Supportive Services Coordinator for the DBE program, affiliated with ODOT, Department of Transportation.
I am LaToya Mason, owner and creative director of LMason Events, and new owner of Nexus Creative Event Space. Downtown OKC.
My name is Shani, Nealy, and I'm the Senior Vice President of Administration at the Urban League, and I'm also help manage the Urban League Small Business Program.
And I'm James Harrington, Vice President of Business Resources with REI Oklahoma.
So the Minority Supplier Program was actually created to help minority-owned businesses to access to government contracting and just overall, procurement opportunities. It was founded over here by the American Rescue Plan Act, and it was led by the Urban League, also REI, and the Greater Oklahoma City Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. With that being said, I actually want to start with Shani and James, and just share with us a little bit what was the program about and how that collaboration really, enhanced everything that we were doing here in Oklahoma City, but specifically for the minority-owned businesses.
I'll go first. So the program was set up for us to help minority businesses get certifications, like small women-owned business or diverse business enterprise or disadvantaged business enterprise, and then also help them register with the city, county, and state entities so they could get contracts, and then help them get contracts. So it took us a while to figure out like a good process, but it was like,
yes.
Okay, let's do number one, let's do number two, let's do number three. And it was a learning process, but the way that it was set up, I think it was a good plan that a lot of businesses didn't know, like I need to do 1, 2, 3. And so that's kind of what it's about.
Nice.
Yeah, from my perspective, I think it was a great program to bring attention to the small business owners in Oklahoma City on how to actually navigate through that government contracting and procurement opportunity. Some of them needed to know that there's opportunities out there for the small business. And so I think this collaboration really allowed us to showcase that, market it, and actually walk them through that whole process. They had our support, our team support on every aspect of it. So they didn't feel alone or lost or confused. They had questions, they could come to us. So really, I think it was just a great collaboration and really helping those small business owners.
That's awesome. Shani mentioned about certifications. How many of you here in the audience already are certified? Oh, I see a couple of hands right there. Nice. So we need more hands in this room, right? And that's exactly why the program, was started. And through all these months, like they were mentioning, we were able to learn, even ourselves, as program managers, how we can help you better. And, finding the right opportunity or the right connections. sometimes can be very challenging, but that's why we came all together to bring those resources for you. Now, LaToya, can you please explain to us about your experiences and even the challenges that you faced before joining the program and how the program helped you afterwards?
Well, for the record, it's LaToya.
LaToya Supplier.
I'm going to tell me correct them every time.
Yes.
Honestly, so my story is kind of unique. I reached out to Greg Jones. If you don't know Greg Jones, he is a minority business owner who's very godfather. He is a wealth of knowledge. And so I had written a curriculum for event planning that I wanted to pitch to trade schools. And so he was like, we got a few things before. And he said, you need to apply for this program. And he said, I don't know how we can help you with that, but we'll figure it out. But I need you to apply for this program first. And so I applied for the program, and I would say, hey, Greg, this is a very long application. It's happening here. And so I started that process, and he was like, and now you need to register for this, and you need to be certified for this, and this. And then I also found this opportunity, which means you need to do this today. Okay? And so I fancy myself someone who's pretty buttoned up. I have pretty good business practices, good steward of our finances, all of those things. And then kind of going through that process of applying for all of these things, I realized, so I only have about 1.5 buttons on this shirt actually buttoned up. And so, unbeknownst to me, that was like 2 weeks worth of grueling attention to detail and taking partners and really breaking my business down to build it back up to be ready for any opportunity that could come. And he was with me every step of the way. And the things that he didn't know, there were resources in this program that he could refer me to. And he was like, I don't know anything about that, but this person does. And so just phone call and Zoom meeting and emails, etc., within 2 weeks got me to a position to where I was ready for this opportunity. Wow. And if you don't, one of my sayings that I say all the time is, if you don't know what you don't know, right? And so I didn't even know that I could qualify for government contracts, right? So I'm thinking, I plan events. I'm logistics for events, right? I'm not a contractor. I don't build things. I don't, not a janitor. There's no government contracts for me. And there was. And so kind of going through that process. And then once I actually found an opportunity, it was incredible. That's the best way to put it. So I was partnered with a compliance consulting specialist. And as Jennifer says, Bree Pierce and Rhonda Galloway. And I temporarily gave my kids up for adoption. We boarded the dog. I said, husband, you got to go somewhere else because I had to be hyper-focused on this opportunity and making sure that it's a different language. Government contracting is a different language. And they, I keep saying they, Urbanly, connected me with a consulting company that speaks the language. And so kind of that partnership helped me put some processes together. And so now I have like all of my bid paperwork and bid processes and forms ready, right? So when the next opportunity comes, it's ready. But they had to build that from scratch because again, I'm an event planner. What opportunities are there for me in government contracting? And I kind of have a thing where if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it 100%. And so I was just kind of hyper-focused on that. And we turned in that bid at 11:59 on the day that it was due. It was on 12. At 11:59, we hit send because we would put it together, and then we look at it, and I'm like, well, that's dumb. We have to start. This is not what we want to do. No, this is, and we broke it up again, did it again, and Jennifer was like, this is your first opportunity. We're going to do it the way you want to do it, but we also going to do it right. And put it back together. We submitted it, and long story short, after checking the email incessantly, my kids were like, dinner's burning. I'm like, I got to check the email. Everything's going to be fine. And then we got it on the first time. Wow.
there at the City of Oklahoma City? Who was in charge of OMS, or Office of Management and Enterprise Services? You know, we want to know who is working there at the Department of Transportation. So having those connections, you know, as program managers also help us doing a better job to serve our clients. So can you please, Kellye, share with us what are the specific resources that the Department of Transportation are offering for minority-owned businesses?
Okay, so I think I did use an acronym first. I want to apologize for that. So it's Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, but we do call it DBE, and we do have ACDBE, which is Airport Concessionaire DBE. So this program is a federal program that falls under all departments of transportation. So it's in every state. And what it is to level the playing field in government contracting. Right now they have changed regulations. It was open to all businesses, but they have restricted it since May 9th to those related to transportation, heavy highway construction type businesses. So on a project, there are pay lines. So there are lists of services that we call pay lines that a contractor would pay out. So with the DBE program, if you're a certified DBE, if you can do anything on that list, you could help a prime contractor reach what we call the DBE goal. And y'all probably like, what the heck is that? So on any project that has federally funded funds, grants, anything the federal government has subsidized for any construction project, any commercial building, transportation projects has a DBE goal. Okay, so right now the DBE goal is 16%. You're like, what does that mean? So if there's an $80 million highway contract out there, 16% of that $80 million has to go to a DBE firm or DBE firms. Okay, so that's why it's such an important opportunity. If you don't know, the U.S. DOT has the highest budget. All DOTs have the most money in any state. If you have a business now, you're looking to get into business into something else, diversify into construction, heavy highway, transportation, retail that can go in airports, and there are a lot of funds out there that are available, and with them restricting it, one of the things I'm encouraging people now to diversify your business. You know, I can recognize what LaToya was saying. I have 3 LaToya, but recognizing what she was saying with the bidding process. So part of my supportive services job is to help you understand that. For a DBE, you are a subcontractor. Okay, so you would be submitting a quote or a price list of expenses and services to another larger company that's not a small business. Okay, so you would not necessarily do a bid. You're submitting a quote to say, hey, I'm a DBE, pick me to do your trucking versus XYZ because I know you have a DBE goal, I can help you reach that. So that is what the federal DBE program is. Now, in other news, as supportive services, we have a statement of work or a contract with the government that says you need to do these lists of things too. So we have to provide training to anyone that may be interested in doing business with heavy highway construction or Department of Transportation. So we offer, you can write this down, we offer free trainings and conferences all year long. You can go to the ODOT website and search DBE events. Make sure you make it plural. It should take you to that link, but the direct address is www.odot.org/DBE events. Yes, www.odot, spell it out, ODOT.org/DBE events. So if you offer, this is where you would have, we have trainings, but you can use those trainings as networking opportunities. Like we have a DBE social coming up where we want small businesses that are DBEs to work with each other to try to collab. If you offer event planning or other services that are not construction related, you can offer your services at these events. So I tell people stay connected. I mean, We have testimonials from those. They did get DBE certified, but you can still use the same program in their way. They were not heavy highway construction, but there was a lady who was an IT trainer. She's done some training for me. She's grossing $250,000 using the DBE program. She goes to all the events. She goes to about conferences in 20 different states. She trains for Google and Facebook now, like trains their employees. So you can use this program really to build your business, and that's what we want. So I encourage you to follow ODOT, the transportation page on all social media, and then go to that events page and save it. Check it out.
Thank you. So you mentioned that this program was led by REI, the REI Oklahoma City Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and Urban League. Each organization brought an area of expertise. I can speak from the Hispanic Chamber that we were able to provide our services in bilingual. And so the language was no longer a barrier. Now, can you please, Shani and James, expand a little bit more on that area? What were the areas of expertise from each one of your organizations?
In our organization, we used a consulting company that LaToya spoke about, Compliance Concepts Consulting. I kind of get it mixed up. It's like CCC. We found that our staff didn't have the skills to do what they did for LaToya when it came to federal contracting. We write grants for the Urban League. We do proposals and things in a nonprofit mentality. So when it came to for-profit or federal, that wasn't our wheelhouse. So we did a contract with this company to help them. And I think that LaToya was the first one that they did, and she got it. And so that just raised the momentum for the rest of the whole program. But I think we ended up doing that very well, and I think we surprised ourselves. We knew how to organize, we knew how to do workshops, we know how to try to pull people together, pass out information, but that was something different. And so we looked outside of the box to find an expert to help us.
That's what it is. Yes. Want to add to that, James?
Yeah, so unlike Urban League, we did have some already experience and some staff people with REI that were already very skilled in the contracting world. And so we were able to kind of incorporate it. Now, we are statewide, so narrowing it down just to the Oklahoma City businesses was a little bit of a challenge because our main expert was at the Tulsa office, so there was some cross-training, a lot of Zoom calls, a lot of collaboration. But we had that expertise to be able to walk them through the whole process of what a contract is, how to bid on the contract, how to do your submittals, what to do after you get awarded the contract, which a lot of people forget about. What do we do?
That's the first part, right?
And then organizations like DOT, they're like, hey, we got to make sure you guys do this paperwork correctly or we're going to have issues. So, we had that expertise on our staff to be able to walk you through that process. We were there with you. Our staff even volunteered to go out to the site to do walkthroughs with the clients. So it was a great collaboration. And Stephanie utilized us quite a bit on a couple of her clients where she didn't have that expertise, so she would refer them over to us, and then we would take them from there on that bid process. And so that's kind of our main assistance, but also REI had the benefit of having a business lending department. So we were utilizing our business lending department to provide contract financing specifically for this program. We set aside a certain amount of money and funds to help those clients when they did secure a contract. Hey, they might get paid for another 90 days from that agency, so they needed some capital to float that 90-day period. So REI utilized our lending department. We set up a certain pool, and it didn't have the greatest success, but we did have a couple of clients utilize it, and it was great. It helped them get through that process of not being paid, the very next week when they completed their work. So it was great.
Awesome. Thanks. LaToya, again, congratulations on being able to access to contracts. Can you share with us, an advice to all the business owners that are right here listening to you? What would be the biggest advice that you can give to them?
A couple things. You have to be committed, because there will be days during the process where you're like, you know what? I don't know that this is worth it. This is a lot, but it is. I can attest to that. It is. You have to be committed, and you also have to be respectful of the people who are committing their time to you. And so this kind of came out of nowhere, really. And so I still had clients that I was servicing, doing other things, And so Jennifer and Rhonda, they would meet with me at 8 p.m. They would meet with me on Sunday afternoons. I was in the process of, in the system, working on some things after a gala that I had. So it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. And I emailed Rhonda about something. I said, this is for in the morning. And then I went to the restaurant, went to get some toast or something. It's the thing, I eat toast in the middle of the night. Don't ask. So I went to go get toast and came back, and she responded. And so that it's kind of empowering, right? So they were committed to me. So I was committed to the success of this, happening, which then made me committed to the success for Shani and Greg, right? And so these types of things are bigger than just you and your business. Even though this will be like an influx of opportunity for your business, this, I was able to employ, 15 people for this event, right? I was able to provide, bilingual services, right? And I was like, this is for Yellow Ribbon, where there's 1,800 soldiers across Oklahoma. There's gonna be a language barrier, right? And so I was able to bring, Stephanie Davis on to be able to help me with those things. So, just think about when you're going into these opportunities about the impact, not just for you and your business, but the impact for the ecosystem, and providing, job opportunities for people, and inspiration, for other people. And so then after one, I became this person that everybody went to, and I was like, wait a minute. Let me get that 4 or 5 under my belt, and then I'll be able to help you. But that commitment there, I think is really important. And then also keep your businesses buttoned up. Take a partner in everything. Get someone to help you with your financial planning and your P&L and your taxes, and all of these things, and be good stewards of these opportunities, so that you can continue to be impactful.
So a lot of the misconceptions that I was able to hear from some clients, specifically when we were talking about the Department of Transportation, was that if I have a public relations company, or if I have an events management company, it was like, why should I even be talking about Department of Transportation? Why should I get a diverse business enterprise certification, right? So can you please, Kellye, explain to us what would be that value, even for those businesses that are not directly related to the industry of transportation, but that can still access to those contracts with DOT?
So there's sometimes the specialized contracts that come through, so you just never know. Like last year, for the first time, I've been here 5 years, there was a contract for a counseling agency that could counsel people with opioid addiction. Why would they come down through the Department of Transportation? Who knows, but we did an RFP for it. So, that's probably maybe a once-in-a-lifetime thing, but you just never know. Again, they are streamlining it, so I just want to make that clear. I don't want you guys to go, it is a very long application. Most federal applications are long, so they are screening those now. But use the networking, the conferences. If you want to be a vendor, all of our things are free. I don't even want to say most. Everything that we do under the DBE program is free. Use that to build your business. If you offer those non-traditional services, and we just call them non-traditional if they're not construction or transportation related, come and use it to build your business for people who need help, with accounting. You may be an accounting firm that's not really directed to construction or on a pay line, but you can help some other companies do that. I forgot to mention this, I'm glad you asked this question, training opportunities. If you know you can train in something, if you trained before, send me a one-page proposal. I tell people all the time, it doesn't have to be anything grand. If you train people and you know you have a service to train businesses, I have cards here. Send me a one-page proposal. I have funds that I can hire you to train people. And if you're really good and the surveys are good, then we'll ask you to come back. So that's an opportunity there. Don't count yourself out for any of these certifications. Even if you can't be certified, or even if you get denied certified, use it to connect. Like she said, it's who you know.
What's your contact information, please?
I have cards. I'll give you a whole card. Yeah.
Thank you to
It's gonna be
everyone.
long. My title, everybody knows, is very long.
Yes. And I even heard that you guys provide free websites. for
Oh,
people.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So we do have reimbursement. So if for certified businesses, so if there is a way that you get certified, we have 3 type of reimbursements. So we have a website reimbursement to help build or update your website. We have training reimbursement. So again, we offer free trainings, but say, hey, I need QuickBooks tomorrow. So if I don't have a training available, or I need somebody to coach me. If there's a curriculum, or we can see that it's a reputable business and there's a curriculum agenda or something to show us what you're getting trained on to help your business grow, we can reimburse for that. And we also reimburse for what we call a financial audit review. I see a construction company. The idea of the DBE program is we want you to become a big business. So we want you to graduate out of the program. So we have some firms that are still considered small to SBA standards, but they want to bid, they're large enough and have enough work experience to bid directly to ODOT. Well, one of the pre-qualifications to bid directly to ODOT is you have to have a financial audit review. I don't know if you've ever heard of those, but they can cost anywhere from $1,300 to $15,000. Have one last year was $15,000. We reimburse $5,000 back on a financial audit review. So those are our 3 reimbursement programs. I don't know any other agency providing that right now on a regular. So we have funds every year for reimbursement. So, like I said, I'm the front line, and I come back and I'm the trainer and the supportive services for you. So today, as we have time, if you want to see if your business could qualify, if we can find a way to make it qualify, we can discuss that today.
For sure. So a lot of my clients came to me and said, Steffi, the program is over. Like, I received an email saying that we're no longer having it. And I told them, hold on, we're still continuing. We want to make sure that this is a work in progress, right? We were able to create that pipeline for businesses to be able to access to government contracts and just other even private contracts. Why not, right? So looking at the future, I want to ask James a little bit about that continued collaboration that we have within our organization, but also how we're going to be able to continue supporting the business owners. How you're seeing that? What's your vision on that, and how you think all the business owners here will continue to benefit?
Yeah, so REI is a statewide organization that's been in the business for 40 plus years. So this is kind of our field that we do. It was just a great opportunity to kind of expand that and be more specific to the Oklahoma City area with this great collaboration. However, our services don't stop. And so our transition for those businesses is just, hey, we have these other programs that are very relatable, very similar, maybe not the same perks, but they are going to be able to provide the same similar assistance, and even outside of what the minority supplier allowed us to, because there was some assistance that weren't allowed that was part of this program that you had to get outside of it. So REI is one of those people that can provide that assistance from the very beginning to the very end. So that's kind of what we see. Also continue that collaboration with Urban League, with Hispanic Chamber, with ODOT. If they have a client that's in need and they're not currently in a position to provide that bit of assistance, REI is here to help with that. So continue that relationship, continue that building. That's what we're looking forward to.
Well, let's open up for some questions. Does anyone has questions? I know Monica has some questions for the DOT. Yes, sir.
There's been like a national, in some ways state, kind of backlash on basically minority programs, whether it's DEI or the school one where you can.
Inclusion,
diversity. That also, but also the school programs where you went to the Supreme Court and you can't. Affirmative action. Yeah, sorry. Anyway, point is, with all the kind of backlash that's happening, do we fear that this program could be targeted at some point by the state to save that money or something?
we've had discussions of that just because being a state agency, political and all of that, and there's actually some suits going on for that. I think it's a trend because there are some that feel like targeting minorities is leaving one big chunk of people out, but not understanding the history. That's why we even have to have the playing field. So I believe, or at least what we've been told, is that it is trending, but that it may, like the DBE program, is being fluid. And if it ever came down to it, our job titles would just change. I don't think they would. We have faith that the right thing will prevail. So it may the look of it just may change.
Yeah, and add to that, I would say, one of our biggest programs is through the MBDA, which is the Minority, Business Development Agency. They're now a permanent fixture of the federal government. They've had the same issues and concerns, but they've worked through it by just changing some of the definitions to ensure that everyone's included. So the programs aren't going to go away. It's just how they approach it is going to be the new tactic.
And then also for your business, you don't have to give us like specific numbers, but do you have can you give us a picture of like before and after, as far as like are you doing like 200% better than before the program, or like 1,000% better, like something to kind of give us a picture of how much better your company is doing before and after the program?
Yes. So we increased our revenue 130%. We were kind of on the fence about opening this new event space, and we were just like, at the end of the day, we would need an influx of capital to be able to make this happen. And the profit margin was just incredible on this opportunity. And so we were able to not only open this new venture, we were also able to invest so that when it's time to do something else, we had that money available. We didn't go on vacation, which I thought we would, but we were like, so we went to Osage and Tulsa and sat at the pool. But yeah, and that's just one opportunity that that was able to just change. It literally changed our lives, and now and also 2 of the part-time people that I employed are now full-time.
Awesome.
So everything that you have, you need to have it at Nexus Creative so that we can keep them employed. But yeah, it has just been an incredible, just immediate influx of success.
Yes, Steffi, I wanted to ask LaToya a question.
Yes.
Can you talk about, like, you got, the excitement and you were awarded. Do you remember what happened? It was on Wednesday. Greg called me. And then the next step was like, you remember that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Can you tell them what that was?
So this opportunity, I had to have all of the money up front. $126,000 in 4 days to raise this money. I, had some personal finance, some personal funds that I could do. And I was like, but it ain't $126,000. And because of the way the opportunity was written, we had to propose for it within that amount of time, right? So we did that, and then we had to pay for it. And I was like, okay, so what do we do? What do I do? And have you seen that meme, that Kermit the Frog meme, where it's typing? And so literally myself, Shani, Greg, everybody, we were just like, any and everybody who said, if you need anything, call me. If you need anything, email me. Be careful when you say that, because I'm going to call. And we reached out to everyone, and the immediate response was, no. Cannot get you approved that quickly. No, absolutely not. Favors, no. And then all it took was one yes, and that yes came from our fairy godmothers and fathers at MetaFund. And just again, kind of going back what Kellye said, go to the things, meet the people, follow up with emails. And because of the relationships that Shani had and that Greg had and that I have with the people, we got a yes, right? Now it was a portion of it, right? And so I did have to have some private funding, personal funding, and then the gap was filled with MetaFund, and we got it done. And when I tell you, when MetaFund said yes, and they said I need this, and this, and I sent it, and they kept their word. And within 24 hours, I was like, I've never seen my account look like that. And it was there just as quickly as it was there. It was gone. But, but I will just say, too, so the relationship, the venue that we had to have this event at was at the fairgrounds. And it was because of how quick the turnaround was. It was literally the only venue that was available that could hold 1,800 people. So that's the issue for Oklahoma City. So if you are a contractor and you want to build something that can hold 3,000 people. That's not an arena, okay? And that's a whole other thing. And so we had to have it at the fairgrounds. I've not ever hosted an event at the fairgrounds. No one's ever hired me to do anything at the fairgrounds. Never met those people. It was my first interaction with them. They don't know me from Adam, right? And so they would not award me a net 90. I had to pay for the venue, security, food and beverage, all of that up front because they don't have a relationship with LMason events, right? So they wouldn't afford me that. And so all of that had to come up, had to be up front. The screens, the AV, all of the things had to be paid up front. And so that was that. And so just understand that a lot of these contracts, the way they are written, you will not receive a dime until 90 days post-event, okay? Or post anything, whatever it is. And so you could potentially have to, do all the expenses, and that could be in the millions, up front. And so, really kind of having a relationship with whatever funding source is very important. And again, being a good steward of your finances is very important because it can deflate the whole process, right? We went through all of that to get it, and it could have gone horribly, right? And then also there's repercussions if you are awarded an opportunity and then can't come up with the financing. They're not going to award you that again. You're not going to have that opportunity again because they're like, well, now we got to go back to the drawing board and put another RFP out because you've accepted this and now you have to do, so it's a whole thing. But yeah, that financing portion wasn't necessarily, it wasn't a huge topic going through the process. And so it was kind of like almost like a blindside a little bit. And I was like, oh, you mean like I have to pay for that? Oh, okay. Cool. We've got to figure this out, right? And now I know that, and so I'm able to put some best practices in place so that on the next one, we got it.
So since there's a bunch of you up there that are involved in the non-business aspect of things, funding and everything else, like, is there something we're doing to help with that in the future so that someone else, because not everyone's going to be able to find $125,000 that fast, and so is there a mechanism, because it's a government contract, their entities know they're going to get their money back. Right. You know what I mean? So it's essentially a risk-free situation, and maybe if they make 3% or something off that or whatever the going rate is, it seems like it would help even more businesses be able to do. So are you guys working on that?
For REI, we have the lending team. We did have contract financing. Unfortunately, the turnaround was the issue with us. Was a 3-day, 4-day approval was just not. It was way out of our scope. Yeah. But what we do have, what we're currently starting to do now to kind of offset that is we are starting a capital readiness program.
Oh, good.
Kind of what she's talking about. Hey, making sure these small business owners know what it takes to get that quick turnaround, or be prepared to go after that financing ahead of time. And that's something that we're starting to do, especially with the contract financing. Is we've even kind of changed our approach a little bit since then. We've learned from it. As you're bidding those opportunities, before you even know if you're awarded, you can come at least apply for a loan, get approved. No funds have to be dispersed. Mm-hmm. You're not charged anything. But in the event you do get awarded, your turnaround's right there. Yeah. So I think it's just being more prepared, getting that knowledge out there, and explaining that to those businesses.
And to go back on that also is, so for me, I had to do like subcontractors for some of the services under the umbrella, but also letting them know that, right? And so if you have payroll that you have to meet that next 2 weeks, again, you won't be paid for 90 days. And so really, you know, your subcontractors also have to have a plan for that, or at least be aware, you know, that you may employ. So one of the things that we had to do was childcare, right? So all of those soldiers could bring their families. And so we had to have childcare for those kids to come to the, you know, so that was a subcontract under LMason events, right? But I would not be able to pay that contract until after the funds were dispersed. And so then you got to be aware of that also. And so really having that knowledge to be able to share it with your subcontractors as well. So those were things that we learned, that I learned along the way, right? And so those are tidbits of information that they need to know, right? And so now when people are asking me about the process, I say everybody has to know what you know, right? You have to be able to share and disseminate that information.
So as someone who hasn't done government contracts before, how did you deal with having to do since you had to do a subcontract? How did you deal with having to do a sub-statement of work for those? Like if you've never written a statement of work before, for those subcontractors.
So that's what the consultant yeah. Again, they help me write all of those things, right? And then I would write it, and she would say, "My friend, no, let's start over." ChatGPT, listen, homeboy, you hear me? Have a great relationship with ChatGPT. We go together real bad. And so between that and then, you know, this partner with CCC, I'm just going to say CCC because it's a tongue twister. Jennifer plays no games, and she is extremely.
She actually just moved into. I work for Project 3810 at Business Theater. They actually just moved into our space last week or 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Awesome. Expert. And she doesn't mind telling you, right? And she was like, you know what? You're good at a lot of things. This you're not good at. We're gonna fix this for you. And again, some people are just like, wait a minute. But I'm also extremely direct. And so I would rather you be direct and help me do it the right way the first time than to sugarcoat it and dance around, and then I don't get an opportunity, right? And so she is excellent at that. So reach out.
I had a question, Melanie.
I was just going to ask James a question. When it comes to contract lending, is it for subs as well or just primes? Do you know? As long as there's a contract aligned, you can go ahead and pre-apply, correct?
That's for both.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
How are we doing on time, Daisy?
It's about 1.
It's about 1.
Yeah.
Well,
Any more questions?
can we give a round of applause then for the panel? Much for being here, and Juliana will just share a few words with us. And
thank you again. Yes, thank you. Another round of applause for
yes.
I just wanted to say yes, we're all welcome to stay here until 2, and then till 1:30, and then even better, you can take that conversation, go to Babel, Boba, and Tea on your Lake Hefner, and attend the Shelter Share App launch party and continue over some just move on over. That's going to be 2 to 4 at Babel Coffee and Boba Tea Bar on West Hefner Road. You just go to our website, okcmec.biz/events, or scan any of those QR codes and it'll take you to that area. And you can see the details, or it's on our social media. And then after that, at 5 o'clock, we're keeping you busy today. At 5 o'clock, we have our last 17th event of this week called the Creators Collective. And that is going to be a fireside chat kind of vibe at the Sound Bar on Broadway in Automobile Alley, hosted by Sunday Productions. It is going to be geared towards those who are entrepreneurs, but in a creative field. So those who maybe don't traditionally get to feel as included in these types of spaces. So if you know a creative, if you are a creative, we encourage you to join. If you just think you want to hang out with some really cool musicians and artists and photographers and get to know them because maybe you need them for your next contract that you get as a subcontractor, come and hang out with us. That's 5 to 7. And then I'll see you when I see you because we're done with mental health.